Secret prisons in Poland, mountains in Russia hiding massive underground facilities, nuclear ice tunnels in Greenland, and secret vaults in Atlanta. These are more restricted places, more secret than Area 51. There's a military training base up in northern Poland called Kiejkuty. After 9/11, the CIA started using part of it as a secret prison. Inside the base, Polish intelligence controlled this blocked-off section where they were bringing people from all over the world between 2002 and 2005. American agents would question them here. The place has an official name, it's this, and they call it an intelligence training center, but investigators, human rights groups, and courts have all said it was really a CIA black site. They were holding suspects there completely off the books. CIA planes would land at this nearby airport. They'd take prisoners from the airport straight to the restricted zone. None of this was in any official records, of course, but years later, the European Court of Human Rights confirmed 2 men were definitely held there: Abd al-Rahim al-Nashiri and Zain al-Abidin Mohammed Hussein. Poland denied having any CIA prison for years, just flat out denied it, but then a court eventually ruled that, yeah, the government did let the CIA use the place for that. The whole thing broke European human rights laws because they were holding people and interrogating them without any legal process. It's still a restricted military zone today. Regular people can't go in, journalists can't go in, and the government still won't say actually happens inside. Tonopah test range is about 30 miles from Area 51. It's been around since 1957 and covers over 500 square miles of desert. Nobody gets in there. The Air Force and Department of Energy run it, and they've done some of their most secret weapons testing at this place. During the Cold War, this is where they practiced dropping nuclear bombs without setting them off. They wanted to see how accurate they were. Then later, it became the main base for the F-11-7 stealth fighter before anyone knew that plane existed. We're talking before 1988, when they finally showed it off. Pilots flew in and out at night, and most of them couldn't even tell their families where they worked. The range has test areas all over the desert, underground shelters, radar systems, tracking equipment everywhere. The airspace above it is always restricted. If a plane gets too close, they handle it. Cameras, motion sensors, and patrols watch the perimeter constantly. Room 39 is the secret part of the North Korean government. They set it up back in the late 70s. Yes, secret even by North Korea standards. What it does is bring in money for the country's leadership. Money that doesn't go through banks or show up anywhere public. Most North Koreans have never heard of it. But people who escape and foreign spies have connected Room 39 to all kinds of illegal stuff happening around the world. Selling weapons, making fake money from other countries, smuggling, running cyber attacks that steal from banks and crypto exchanges. All that money goes straight to the top. It pays for weapons programs, security forces, keeps the ruling class living all nice. Room 39 probably operates out of some secure buildings in Pyongyang, but obviously nobody knows exactly where. The Forbidden City was where China's emperors lived from 1420 until 1912. They built it to keep people out just as much as to look impressive. There are thousands of rooms in there, but only some are open to tourists. The inner chambers are still completely closed. Private spaces where emperors and their families lived, storage rooms for valuable stuff, hidden hallways that guards and servants used. A lot of these areas are too fragile to open up. Others were never meant for outsiders to see in the first place. Back when the Forbidden City was actually running, walking into the wrong room without permission could get you executed. Guards controlled everything. Servants lived their whole lives inside those walls without leaving. Now only conservation workers and approved researchers can get into the closed sections. No way you're getting in as a tourist. A lot of these rooms are still sitting exactly how they were left, completely sealed off. Along huge chunks of Russia's borders, there are these massive areas called border security zones. Travel is super controlled. These zones can go miles back from the actual border. Foreign visitors almost always need special permission. In some spots, even Russian citizens need paperwork explaining why they're there. The zones cover forests, coastlines, remote villages, long empty stretches of land. Some towns inside have limited access and barely any contact with the outside world. Checkpoints on roads, patrols constantly patrolling You start taking photos, or you wander off the marked paths, and you're getting questioned or detained. The real Coca-Cola formula sits in a vault at the World of Coca-Cola Museum in Atlanta, but you'll never actually see the recipe. The vault is sealed, monitored all the time. They treat it like Fort Knox. Coca-Cola says the formula has never been written down as one complete document. They split it up, handle it under crazy strict rules, and only a tiny number of senior employees can see it at any time. For decades, they kept the formula in a bank vault. In 2011, they moved it to the museum vault, mostly for marketing, but security stayed just as tight. Employees who get access sign confidentiality agreements that follow them their whole lives. Even people who work at Coca-Cola, like most chemists and factory staff, never see the full formula. They only work with pre-made flavored mixes. But why so much secrecy? Well, Coke is of course one of the most valuable brands on earth. They just don't want anyone copying it. It would destroy a business model that's lasted over 130 years. Kapustin Yar got set up in 1946, first major missile testing site the Soviet Union had. They built it right after World War II, and this is where they brought captured German V-2 rocket tech to study it and rebuild it. Soviet engineers tested their early ballistic missiles here before they had other big launch sites. During the Cold War, they tested all kinds of missiles at Kapustin Yar, from short-range rockets to bigger ones that carry nuclear bombs. They even evacuated entire villages nearby. The whole area became off-limits, a closed military zone. Airspace above has been restricted forever. Access is still tight. It's still active under the Russian military now. Launch notices come up sometimes, but they rarely say what is being tested. Camp Century was built by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers starting in 1959, way deep in Greenland's ice sheet. They said it was a research station. That was the cover story, though. The real plan was called Project Iceworm. They wanted to hide nuclear missiles under the ice and move them through tunnels. The base ran on a portable nuclear reactor. Long underground corridors were carved right into the ice. Soldiers lived and worked there year-round. The idea was to eventually build thousands of miles of tunnels, each one hiding missile launch points they could move around so nobody could find them. The plan failed because the ice just wasn't stable enough. Tunnels cracked and collapsed under the pressure. By 1967, they abandoned the project. They took the reactor out, but left everything else. Fuel, chemicals, sewage, and radioactive waste is still sitting there. And it's buried under ice and snow now. Nobody can get to it, but that's just for now. As the ice sheet shifts and melts, scientists are worrying the waste might eventually get exposed. Mount Yamantau sits in the southern Ural Mountains, one of the most restricted places in Russia. Nearby is this closed town called Medjugorje. It doesn't show up on any normal maps. You need special permission to enter. During the Cold War, it was discovered that there was all this construction going on here. Tunnels drilled straight into the mountain. Heavy rail lines going underground. Satellite images seem to suggest they'd built a deep underground military complex. Most people think it's a command bunker meant to survive nuclear war. Russia has never said what it's for, officially anyway. The government's come out with a few different stories, said it was for mining, food storage, yada yada, but the area is completely off limits with armed security. It makes it hard to believe it's just a mining operation. Even Russian citizens can't enter Medjugorje without authorization. Whatever it's for is not meant to be seen. Porton Down is the UK's most secret military research site. They opened it in 1916 during World War I. It's been used for chemical and biological weapons testing for over 100 years. The British government says now that they focus on defensive research, but the past is documented and real. Porton Down tested nerve agents, mustard gas, and other toxic substances. Thousands of military personnel were used in experiments, and they often weren't told what they were exposed to. One famous case was Ronald Madison, a Royal Air Force serviceman who died in 1953 after getting exposed to sarin during a test. Big parts of the facility are still off limits, surrounded by fencing, armed patrols, and surveillance. Even today, details about ongoing research is classified. And that has been the video for today. I will catch you, yes you specifically, in the next one.